Hi, thank you for joining. My name is Bethany McCorkle. I'm the Communication Director for Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost. We're here today to announce the results of a statewide human trafficking scheme. What I would like to go through are the run of show and the details. I'm going to have AG Yost come up and give an overview. We'll play a short video of some of the footage that we were able to capture throughout the week, and then I'll have a couple of the law enforcement standing behind me self-introduce and give a couple remarks. We will then open it up for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please enter them in the chat, or you can let us know you have a question. I'll reiterate the question for the team here. We do have a very lengthy press release that we'll send out afterwards with names, video, and the highlights from the week. So at this point, I'm going to have AG Yost come up and speak.
Good morning. We're here today to announce the outcome of a statewide operation last week called End OHHT, which is named after our new statewide human trafficking hotline, End OHHT. I should begin by noting the difference between prostitution and human trafficking. I'm asked about this a lot, and it's the difference between 2 and 3. Prostitution is a transaction between 2 people, and human trafficking is when a third person is involved in any way, usually taking some or perhaps all of the proceeds of the transaction. This statewide operation involving more than 100 agencies, including law enforcement and social service agencies, ended up netting 110 arrests of Johns, people trying to buy sex. This is important because without money, there is no human trafficking. Without money, the marketplace collapses and the incentive for human trafficking goes away. I've said it many, many times, and I will continue to say it: don't buy sex in Ohio. You don't know when you buy sex whether that other person is willingly participating or is being trafficked, and there's someone else in the next room or out in the car that is controlling this transaction. That means that if you buy sex in Ohio, you are complicit, perhaps. You're accepting the possibility, at the very least, that you're complicit in human trafficking. That's why we don't view it as a minor offense or a vice offense, but actually part of the human trafficking ecosystem. In addition to those 110 arrests, we also had, amazingly, 22 arrests for people who were seeking to have sex with children, minors. And we have also 73 survivors that we came into contact with. The survivors were all offered services. Several of those instances had related arrests for drug possession or warrants outstanding and those sorts of things. But our focus on the survivors was to help them to get services. We view them as victims in this operation. I want to thank all of our partners, some of whom are represented here today, for their hard work and cooperation, collaboration. This was a massive undertaking and pretty amazing results. Grateful, the Ohio Attorney General's Office and the Ohio Organized Crime Investigations Commission, under which the human trafficking task forces are organized. We literally could not do this without the cooperation and collaboration of the local law enforcement partners. Finally, I want to turn to the question, what happens next? And we have a great deal of variability. All law enforcement in Ohio is local. Local sheriffs, local chiefs of police, local prosecutors. And that's as it should be. Those officials reflect the sensibilities and values of their local communities, as well as the priorities in those communities for law enforcement. But I've been concerned that across the state, I hear lots of stories about prosecutors who deal away some of these cases, reduce charges, sometimes dismiss them. And I am calling on the prosecutors in this great state to hold the line. This doesn't mean that everybody needs to get locked up or get locked up for a long time, but there has to be consequences. If we're going to stop human trafficking, there have to be sanctions for the people that are funding this, that are fueling the human trafficking with their money. And that means that John shouldn't be getting a slap on the wrist, a $100 fine, and told to not do it anymore. There needs to be consequences. There needs to be education, to be sure, and there needs to be a penalty that will act to deter this kind of behavior in the future. So with that, I'd like to roll a quick video and then turn this over to some of the people that actually were doing work on the ground, our law enforcement partners. Thank you.
I've been doing this for 5 years. I've never come across one girl that says she enjoys doing this every single time.
Good morning. I'm Summit County Sheriff Candy Fothery. This past week, we came together with other sheriffs in our area to address human trafficking. This is a horrible crime. It's one that needs to be addressed. And to be able to come together with other sheriffs as well as other police agencies working very hard to address the human trafficking in our area. Many of the women that were trafficked will end up in our courts in a court called Rise Court, and it's designed to help them to get out of being trafficked, to get away from those that are forcing them to do what they don't want to do. This is a serious, serious crime. The sad part is one of the people that we arrested has been arrested for doing this before, and we've got to stop this. It cannot continue. We don't want this in our neighborhoods. We don't want this for the people in our community, and it has to stop. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I'm Sheriff Dallas Baldwin of Franklin County. I want to take just a moment to say thank you to the Attorney General. Without the assistance of the Attorney General's office and all the leaders you see behind me, it wouldn't be possible. Every day, each agency represented here fights human trafficking. It's a despicable crime. The victims are numerous, and we do all we can to combat it. But without coming together on these task force operations, it would be virtually impossible to make a dent in it. So I want to again thank you to everybody you see that came together for this operation, the Attorney General especially. Numbers are staggering, which shows you there's much work to do. It's sad that we have to have the stats we have on operations like this, but it shows the need to continue to do it. I would like at this time to bring my Chief Deputy Rick Minor forward for just a minute to make a few comments. He oversees our human trafficking efforts and task force operations. Thank
you. Chief Deputy Rick Minor. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, General, for your leadership. This is a day of pride and concern. Pride in that all of these leaders from local, state, and federal agencies are coming together to address this issue in our community with human trafficking. So it's a day that we're very proud of, but it's also a day of concern as well. And so you've heard the numbers in terms of the arrest, but also the people that were victimized. And so, as the general was talking, it's a two-pronged approach to address the supply and the demand. We have folks out there that are falling victim to this, family members and so forth that are associated with this as well. Then also the people that are capitalizing on addiction and vulnerability and all the things that we see in society. And so it's important that we both provide resources to move these people in the right direction in terms of the victims, to improve their life, but also hold people accountable. These wretches in our society that are capitalizing on the folks that are most vulnerable. And so again, it's a day of concern, but it's also one of pride. And again, thank you for the leadership of all the men and women you see behind me.
Good morning. My name is Harold Pertel. I'm the Sheriff of Cuyahoga County. Thank you again, General Yost, for supporting us in this with the task forces, all of our partners here, also our partners in the non-governmental agencies, and everyone who's helped us along the way. A few things about human trafficking important to know. It doesn't always look like what people think it's going to look. It's not someone always chained in the basement, although that can happen. It is all around us, places you don't think about it. You might be in line somewhere, you might be at a gas station somewhere, and you might find someone there who's being trafficked. It could be sex trafficking, it could be labor trafficking, but it's important to know it's around us, and it doesn't exclude any demographic or any gender or any age. So it is in all communities to some degree or other, and it's important when we see it, we address it and we report it. That 188-END-OHHT, Ohio Human Trafficking, 1-888-END-OHHT is important, or simply calling 911, or simply walking up to the nearest police officer, deputy sheriff, state trooper, marshal, whoever may be around, and informing them this person needs assistance. Also, for those who may be victims in this, important for them to know we do care. It is important to us. We are partnering with our agencies, our public service agencies, and have your best interests at heart. We know that you need a way out of there. We're going to give that. Those committing it, Ohio's not the place for it. Obviously, this is a great start, and there's more to come here. But again, it doesn't exclude any demographic. It is everywhere, and it is important that you notify us. Awareness is key for us to do the investigative component, whether it's calling a tip line, calling 911. There are more people out there than there are law enforcement. More eyes and ears. Please inform us so we can do our part. Thank you, and stay safe.
We will now take questions from the media if there are any.
The first question is from John Bedell. People hear a lot of statistics and data about human trafficking, but what is the personal impact of the people who are exploited by this kind of crime?
Yeah. When you're trafficked, it invades the most personal and intimate part of your humanity. The trauma that is inflicted by trafficking is something that the survivors end up dealing with for the rest of their lives and frequently require years of assistance to be able to begin to get away from the post-traumatic responses. It's economic, it's spiritual, it's human, it hits families, it impacts the communities, it impacts our economies. This is really among the most horrific crimes that happen in Ohio, and that's why you see all of these dedicated public servants behind me working so hard at it.
The next question is from Lacey Crisp of 10 TV. This is an annual operation. Why continue to do it?
Why can't what?
Why continue to do it?
Oh, well, we keep arresting more people. I would love to not have to do these sweeps because that would mean that human trafficking wasn't happening in Ohio. But the fact of the matter is it does continue, and I'm happy from this standpoint, the light that these stings and the education efforts are shedding across the state are bringing more people out of the shadows. We're learning more, it's becoming more visible, and the public can help by using our human trafficking hotline as well. If you see something, say something, you've heard it before, it's not your responsibility to know whether there's more to the story. We'll find out whether there's more to the story, but let us know what you see. Let us know what you hear. If you're worried, we'll sort it out. Just call 188-END-OHIO-HT.
The next question might be regional specific, so let me know if someone else needs to answer it. But the question is from Madison Tromler. What role did Mahoning Valley Human Trafficking Task Force play in the operation specifically?
Take that. Anybody? Perfect. Sure.
Matt Hilbert with Ohio Organized Crime. So the Mahoning Valley Human Trafficking Task Force, every year that we do this, participates. This year was no different. They did several stings in their county, focusing on the demand reduction or the John stings as well.
The next question is, can you talk about how much of this work impacted the Dayton area?
Matt, looks like you Josh. Josh, probably.
All right.
So again, all of the Ohio Organized Crime Human Trafficking Task Forces participate in this operation, and this is no different. Dayton, Montgomery County Human Trafficking Task Force did several stings across their area last week, and as well as the 7 other organized crime task forces that focus on human trafficking.
And just for everyone, the release that we're going to send out has region-specific and highlights, so there will be names, actually what was the crime they were charged with, so there'll be a little more detail there as well. The next question, was anyone actually charged with human trafficking, or are these all prostitution charges? Coming in again, Matt Hilbert.
So no, on this operation, nobody was charged with the felony human trafficking in person charge. There were several who will be followed up on across the state, actually multiple that will be followed up on, but nobody was charged in this specific one with that.
State your name and your title. Sure. I know you're talking.
It's Matt Hilbert with Ohio Organized Crime Investigations Commission. I'm the deputy director there.
The next question is from Laura Bischoff. 110 arrests plus 22 of those seeking sex with kids. Total arrests 132. Also, how many arrests made of the third parties who profit from the sale of sex?
The same question as the previous one. I don't have an answer on promoting prostitution. We can check and get that answer out to them.
Let me add something real quickly to that. Human trafficking cases are a little bit like other high-end criminal offenses, racketeering or bulk weight narcotics sales. So the stings don't produce typically those high-end arrests. What they do is produce the cases that end up producing the leads that lead to those. We just announced a couple weeks ago up in Cleveland a human trafficking arrest. They do occur, but they tend to be the result of longer-term investigations. So it's not unusual that the sting, which is much more oriented toward the street and the retail end of this, doesn't get the higher ups. We need to work up the food chain. Rest assured that we will.
We have another question from Brian Duggar. Can you talk about the operation and how contact was made with potential Johns?
Well, we're not going to do that. That's going to get into means and methods and techniques, and we're not going to educate the criminal element as to how we do our work.
The next question is, are you able to specifically say where the 100-plus arrests happen, counties involved, and the age range? I can tell you that information will be in the press release. Age range, professions, names and the regions where they were. So we're going to go to the next one. If there's follow-up questions, by all means, reach out to our comms office. Another question, is there anything more you can describe about what you found in this specific operation? Are there arrests connected?
So again, there's a great deal of detail in the news release. You're going to find some interesting localized stories, and I would refer you to that rather than read the news release here today.
So next question is about the hotline. How often are you getting calls to the human trafficking hotline? Do those calls help you in the operation like this one? How so?
We just began the state-specific hotline a couple of weeks ago. I'm happy to get current numbers as of today. Bethany, we can find that out. We're still in the process of boosting it, so I wouldn't expect that we have real high numbers just yet. With regards to this operation, it was planned for quite some time, and we'll check and see if there might have been a nexus between a call that came in that got used by a local task force, but it would be very unusual to have something that new incorporated in a long-range operation like this.
The next question is the operation part of a larger investigation effort?
Yes.
And as of right now, this is the last question, unless there are any other ones. What are the signs people should watch for if they think they are witnessing human trafficking in the public?
So there, and we've got a list of kind of red flags on the website, and I encourage you to go to the Ohio Attorney General's website. But they include, well, for example, you see somebody checking into a hotel, a couple, and neither of them have any luggage. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's human trafficking going on, but it might be. If you see someone in public who appears to be dominating another person who and directing them, and that they don't feel they don't look free to leave. I was in an Ohio city and actually in a carry-out here myself about 6 weeks ago, getting a Gatorade, and I noticed a 14-year-old-ish girl, skinny, gawky, who had a much older person who was holding on to her arm and shepherding her around the carryout, and walked her up to the checkout station, left the same way, put her in the car. I was very concerned about it. I called the local law enforcement and suggested that was something that they ought to look into. Look for things that don't seem right, and there's a list of the different kinds of things to look for on our website.
Another question, AG Yost, you mentioned wanting local prosecutors to hold those who were arrested accountable. Have you had conversations with local prosecutors' offices about declining charges for suspects arrested in connection with previous statewide human trafficking stings like this one?
Well, I want to be clear that I'm not necessarily talking about declinations, although there have been a few dismissals as well. Yes, I've had conversations with local prosecutors. We will continue to have conversations with local prosecutors. I think that this comes down to an education issue. People still tend to view purchasing sex as being somehow divorced from the issue of human trafficking. But the fact of the matter is there is no human trafficking unless people are buying sex. We need to have sanctions for those people that are fueling the economy of human trafficking. That means the Johns. Thank you all. I appreciate you attending our virtual press conference. And thank you to all of our colleagues that are here and those across the state of Ohio.